All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fans Union for the fans by the fans. Another little two-man offense. Graham, who are we playing like this week?
What up, gang? Man, let's shout out to the franchise and T Mac, man. Let's take it back to Houston in the early 2000s, bro.
Him and Yao?
We could do him and Yao. I was thinking, I'm saying the franchise. Let's do Steve Francis and T Mac. Didn't they play with each other back
Steve
then?
Francis and what's
Yeah,
Steve Francis?
I'm feeling like a primary ball handler tonight, man. Mainly on the assist tip. Pause.
Okay. Let's see. Last place we did Nash and
I
stat
was real,
line.
I was real fancy with that, man. Man, I didn't mean to get so unconventional.
No, it's
Offensive
okay. It's okay. I should be ready for this. Well, either way, we're running some pick and roll,
I'm
pick
feeling
and
a little
pop.
flashy tonight, coach. That's all.
Fair enough. Well, we got two sitting on the screen. I'm shooting, so that is
We
what
got
it is.
we got somebody who's gonna shoot it at will, and another person who's gonna defend, all 80 feet or whatever the analogy is. So let's run it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, so just similar as always, going to look at some games from last week, predict some things coming up this week. This is the last week teams had buys, so next week everybody's playing. So always is that time of the year.
All the way through for the rest of the season. You saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So next week is week or this upcoming week is 15. So God, it's so sad the way the season flies by. We're so ready for it all year, and then just
Yeah,
wraps up so fast.
week 4, it feels like you got an eternity in front of you, and anything is possible. And you look up, and it's mock draft season.
Yep, pretty much
Just,
how it goes.
just the name of the game, man.
Well, I guess we can kick it off with a disgusting game that I went to. The Falcons versus Seahawks. You know, we start out with our fans, with our teams for fandom. And you
Joe,
guys
what's
are
your Joe? What's y'all's record, by the way, when you attend?
prior or before or after this game.
Let's include it, man. The past is behind us.
It's the Falcons are now 4-9.
Well, on a bright note, with some silver lining, I'm pleased to know that you've been to that many Falcons games.
Yeah, I've been to. That was my third or fourth one this year. I think it was my
Okay.
third.
Yeah, you've been kind of racking them up these last couple of seasons for sure.
Yeah, and then I'd like to go. I'd like to go to the Saints game to end the year. But
I think those tickets won't be that bad for you.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
if you want to go to Falcons game, I'm sure it's not a difficult one to get
Nah,
into now.
on a side note, Joe, you sent me a picture from a game you went to last year. I actually think y'all were playing the Buccaneers. I could be wrong.
I went to the Bucks game, where Kirk threw for 500 yards.
Yep.
Falcons won in overtime.
It was a
It
tough
was
loss. It was a
that was
tough
the beginning
loss.
of Kirktober. No, the Seahawks or the Bucks
Oh
won
no, y'all
last.
won that night. That's right.
Yeah, because
That's right.
they won
But you
on
sent me
the
a picture of the end zone that night, and y'all did an alternate end zone. It was fire as hell.
yeah that because they did the what is it? They did throwback uniforms where they
Throwback,
wear
yeah.
and they painted them with the diamonds.
Hell yeah.
Man, there is
Oh,
some
yeah.
like when there is still
That was
hope.
special.
When there is still hope in the city of Atlanta, and it's a primetime game. They did that night. They did the Matt Ryan Ring of Honor introduction too. Retired his number.
Yeah.
So it was God. That was so much fun, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, Falcons are gonna be a playoff team." Blah 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 blah. And now I'm about to go into them being 4-9 after getting their doors blown off by the Seattle Seahawks. Now this game, it's funny because it's 6-6 at halftime. Both defenses are playing really well. Bijan is doing his thing early. And then the second half starts, and the second half kicks off with a Rashid Shaheed. What did I say his name? Shaheed. I said Daheed for some reason. Rashid Shaheed kickoff return for a touchdown, and after that, it just fell out. I mean, turnover. We have 3 turnovers in the second half. You're not going to beat anybody doing that, and you're not going to beat especially Seattle, who's now 10-3. I think it says they're 6-1. Seattle's 6-1 on the road. That is a super impressive mark. But I was looking at it earlier today too, and it's not like I mean, Sam Darnold, he had 249 yards, 20 of 30, 3 touchdowns. So by all accounts, a good game. But it's not like he was, just I guess carving up dice and going up and down the field the whole game. I'm trying to find the play by play so I can get the exact. Oh, here it is. So the third quarter, they score on the opening kickoff. Falcons get the ball back, fumble. They go down 88-yard touchdown or 88-yard touchdown drive. Next drive for the Falcons, interception. Seahawks, field goal. Falcons, field goal. Seahawks, touchdown. Then Falcons, interception. So, and the next time the Falcons get the ball, turnover on downs. Of course, they went for it on fourth down way late in the game. It's a blowout already. But it's just amazing to me. Now, granted, starting quarterback's out. Drake London is still out. All those things play a part. But this team has just totally lost its juice. And I mean, really, realistically, it's probably been gone for more now. But I feel like yesterday was the official nail in the coffin. No longer eligible. Not that they were going to make it, but they're officially out of playoff contention. And this is, I think what makes it really unfortunate is we as football fans all assumed this is the Bucs division. They're running away with it. And I believe, I'll pull that up in a little bit. And the Bucs, given how injury ridden they've been, it's just been too much to keep up with. And and I want to say, let me actually look this up. See. I want to make sure I'm not crazy. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so if the Falcons win this weekend or win tomorrow against Tampa, and then Carolina wins, Carolina leads the South. So I mean, I never would have predicted that, but here we are. So it's just been really disappointing to see. I mean, you come into the season, you go all in on the draft, which I mean, Pierce and Walker have been fantastic. Pierce has had a sack 5 games in a row, so I'm not really tripping off not having that pick because my question is, was he going to be – I don't know if you can say next year's first pick is going to be as impactful as he's been this year, but at the same time, it sucks because they're going to be picking this is probably going to be what would normally be a top 5 draft spot, and you're not going to get no parts of that. So not fun to realize that. I think Kyle Pitts is going to be out this week. Drake London's out again this week. But more so, I guess, back to the game. I'll tell you what, seeing Sam Darnold live was a really enlightening experience, I guess you could say. Because it was, I guess maybe could have been the angle I was sitting at. I was sitting behind the end zone. Shout out to my lovely sister-in-law for getting my brother the tickets. And he was, every time he'd throw the ball, it looked like he was throwing it, how he was throwing like an NFL quarterback should. It looked like it's 8 yards ahead, and then, oh, wow, falls right in the receiver hand. So it was amazing to see a quarterback be so on top of it versus a quarterback who is just totally lost all dynamic appeal in Kirk Cousins. I was thinking in a situation, Kirk Cousins, by the way, 15 to 30, so it's 50% completion percentage, 2 picks, 162 yards. Now, one of the picks was a deflection off Pitts. I think they actually might have been both tip balls, but it's clear that I think his best football is behind him. So he's going to be gone. You're going to free up a lot of cap room because he's gone. But at the same time, we don't know when Penix is coming back. There's just so many questions, and being a Falcons fan really got bleak after this game, I feel like, because we just don't know what the direction is. I want to assume that Raheem is gone after the season. I don't really care about firing him during the season, after whichever it is. But that first Monday after the season ends, he's got to go. I think you got to clean a lot of house. Front office, I mean, I think Fontenot's been great in the draft, but this is 4 years where, they drafted him because they wanted to escape quarterback purgatory is what they called it. Well, now it's just quarterback hell is what you're in. And quite frankly, you're in football hell for what it's worth. So, yeah, there's nothing to talk about, really. I mean, I really have like what the defense has built this year, but you see 37 points on the board, and there's context to explain those points per se, but still, it's just I'm defeated.
And rightfully so, bro. I mean, the team hasn't really given the fan base much to hang their hat on outside of those young and promising defenders that were kind of hitting on earlier. But what I'll say is this: the part about all this that kind of concerns me the most is the fact that when you look at teams that are poised for a rebuild, a lot of times you're questioning parts of their culture, and how you can reset that culture. My issue with Atlanta is Atlanta has felt devoid of culture for quite some time now. I don't really know what the identity of that football team is. For a minute, it looked like they were going to angle, trying to build a really efficient offense like what they had with Matt Ryan for a really long time. I've always been a really, big Matt Ryan, fan. I've always, stood behind how long they supported him, even amongst all the hate and the shit that he caught from hometown fans a lot of times unnecessarily. But it looked like the Falcons were going to try and do something along those lines, and now it maybe looks like they're veering more towards trying to build up that defense. But either way, you do need somebody at the helm who is going to be able to start from the locker room start from the locker room out. I mean, pardon me. It's got to start from there though. As far as like who you're acquiring through the draft and the veterans that you pick up through free agency, it's got to make sense, man. Well beyond just like what me and you and the fans can comprehend. It has to make sense to what you guys are really trying to achieve as a club. And that's what I feel like. I mean, I'm not a Falcons fan, but I do feel like I can speak for Falcons fans when I say,
I mean, you've lived in Atlanta for your whole life.
yeah, man, it's like to be devoid of a culture is sometimes way bigger of an issue than just needing a bunch of positions. Because at least if you got your coach or you got a culture, you guys are gonna have a system about how you go about acquiring talent and shit. But beyond that, back onto the game. What I'd say is you guys are dealing with those injury bugs, Joe. Losses like this are gonna, probably gonna be a lot of what the rest of the season looks like for that reason. There's really no sense in pulling guys like Drake London and all that. Is London on the IR?
He's not on the IR. That is the day-to-day thing, but it looks like he's out again for this week. So go ahead and make that fantasy change. Do you know how brutal it is? Real quick, I just want to mention when your fantasy team has Drake London, Garrett Wilson, and Omarion Hampton. Omarion Hampton just came back, but your three biggest scorers out the whole year.
Oh, that's your squad?
Yeah. And Drake London is officially out. Let me go put Judy back in. That's brutal. I'm going to have to do some research.
Yeah, I was about to say, man, you're going to have to hit the waivers.
Let's see who we got on waivers.
Judy the backup. We're going to have a talk at headquarters, my brother.
Yeah.
We're going to figure something out. Although I do think brother Logan would love that. Logan a big Judy guy.
I'm looking. Mike Evans just got announced as active this week.
Yeah, he's back. Yeah, all the Buccaneers guys were celebrating that.
I might have to get that. Yeah, you know what?
Shout out to my boy Tyke Smith, a damn good dog.
Who's playing a lot of minutes for them.
He's been tremendous since he hit the league,
but sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, that's all good, man. I mean,
from that.
I knew we would both have to chime in on the, Falcons funeral preparations, but it is that time of the year. It is that time of the year for both of us. It's officially that YSO. Your season is over.
Yeah. You remember that one guy's video? He's like, y'all better go shoot some layup, get ready for basketball.
Yeah, get some ready for some basketball drills. Yeah, man. It's that time.
Yeah,
man.
It is. But yeah, I guess I'll just wrap this up because we're kind of
Justin Fields, go ahead and strap on your hyperfuses, man. we playing pickup at Kennesaw State.
Yeah. We'll see you
with KJ.
Get ready to speak Boots War, buddy.
Yeah.
But no, I mean the Seahawks now that puts them let me see. The Seahawks are now have the 5th seed, 10-3. So they're a phenomenal team. I mean, Jackson Smith-Njigba has been the best receiver in the NFL this year. I think he is the leading receiver in terms of yards by like 340 yards right now. So he's been phenomenal. Mike McDonald, the head coach for the Seahawks, has got those boys rolling this year, and I'm really, really, really impressed with this team's been able to put together. But I hate that they kind of put the nails on the coffin.
Yeah, someone had to do it, man. Only right that at least it was a good team.
Yeah, I guess that's more fair, but losing sucks. Watching losing teams sucks.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely no way to
Speaking of
package that.
our shared bond and sucking, pause. I
Yo,
guess we should mention that talk about your team who is also now officially on a playoff contention.
yeah, I thought last week did it for us, but for the sake of the show, let's just say, yeah, we did it in the same week, man. We two peas
We,
in a pod this week, I guess.
well, you know what's crazy? Before you talk about the Jets at all, I want to harp on this. Did we not think the Miami Dolphins were the worst situation in the NFL for half the season at this point so far? Fair to
It's
say?
hard for me. It's hard for me to think of a worse situation than Las Vegas, but
Right.
they're right there
So,
with
but
it.
give or arguably,
Yeah,
probably the worst
for sure.
situation, right?
Yeah,
So,
definitely no
since
argument about
after the Falcons win, they lost to the Ravens the next week, so they were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
that. No, yeah, they've been rolling.
So they were 2-7. Okay, they have won. They've won 4 games in a row,
Yeah, they're rolling.
and they got the Steelers on Monday night. So who knows what that could do? They realistically, I'm looking at it here, Graham. Uh, they're still in the playoff hunt. They have the same record, my brother, as the Chiefs and the Ravens right now. If I told you that a month and a half ago, you would have slapped me. You would have been saying, no, there's no way. Nope. They are wow. What a turnaround. If they make the playoffs, I'm assuming McDaniel's not going anywhere.
Joey, before we get into McDaniels, I didn't know there was any way possible for you to spin this into me feeling worse than you did after the Falcons losing. But congratulations, man.
I've got talent, man. What can
I
I
will
say?
say this: for the nearly 20 years I've known you, you've never failed to impress me in many ways. But no, I mean, the Dolphins have been rolling. Trust me, I heard plenty about it when I was, kind of tapping in and out of the game this last weekend. The announcers did an excellent job, as they always do, talking about the other team for 85% of the game. So I basically heard about everything that's going on in Miami, the weather, the economy lately.
You heard
Everything
who
on
was at Live last night?
Come on, bro. Insane. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, I mean, as far as McDaniels, I think I said this to you when they did it. When they fired their GM and kept him, I was like, oh, I could see them sticking with him. To me, usually because usually when you see the GM go, the coach is gone a week before, but or they'll do it at the same time at the very least. So to see the head coach survive a GM getting canned, I figured they were going to at least give him another year. And I honestly think they're going to either give him a rookie quarterback or they're going to try and spin that free agency carousel and try and run this back with a different quarterback. Maybe they pick up Mac Jones. Who knows? I'm just throwing names out there, but yeah, they are rolling right now, and I definitely think they are committed to the hunt. Officially consider them out of any mock drafts within the first 8 slots. They're not. They're no longer in that tier.
Especially if they miss the playoffs. If they miss the playoffs, then if they make the playoffs, then they automatically get like the 16th or something. Is the best pick.
Yeah,
Maybe
something like
20th.
that. Right.
I want to say too, Graham. Before you continue, you were talking about the GM move. That's a good point. I want to say about McDaniel. I think there is a difference between your team as a coach losing and you losing the team. It looked like he lost the team for quite a while, but clearly they've rallied. They've won 4 in a row. They're 5-1 in their last 6. He didn't lose the team. And I think if you're a Dolphins front office or anybody who's invested with the team at all, you've got to take some, be proud of that. I mean, this is a team in that run, they beat the Bills as well.
for sure.
So it's not like they're just beating slouches. I mean, granted, they beat the Saints not long ago. They beat the Falcons, beat the Jets, so but yeah, I've really been impressed with McDaniel's ability to bounce back.
No, I mean, when you look at McDaniel's tenure, he has an excellent record against the Jets. I honestly think we've only beaten them like once or twice since he's taken over. Pardon me. He fared pretty well against the Patriots when they were going through their freaking miniature little slump that their fans act like they was just going through the dog days forever. Through that blip of a slump, he fared pretty well against them. All things considered, I mean, I think he's done, fairly well. You'd have to at least give him a B plus, objectively speaking, for his tenure in Miami. So if you don't feel like the replacement option in him is better than what you have now, I think you always have to evaluate a team positively for keeping, their hand close rather than, playing the market and moving on to a coach who's worse. You know what I mean? So it's like, to be honest with you, when I think about the coaches they could have replaced him with since then, if you couldn't have landed Vrabel, who's a better replacement coach than what McDaniels has given to you so far?
Yeah, it's like I said, the way they bounce back, it's going to be tough to find another coach.
Yeah.
But how about the
More
Jets
power to him. I commend them for keeping him even after firing the GM. I see the vision.
Yeah, clearly. How about the Jets giving Missouri legend Brady Cook the start?
I liked how Brady looked in the preseason a lot, actually, especially considering our starting quarterback, who we owe $40 million to, just doesn't want to throw a football. I guess he loves football so much, he wants to keep the football close to his heart, because that seems to be the only place that I see the football at in correlation to his body. It's never really leaving his hands, traveling through the air, doing things like that. So sometimes I actually forget how the game of football is supposed to be played, but that's the
because you want Justin Fields.
Yeah, we're pushing into Patreon content, and I don't want to get into all that, but yeah, I mean, as far as Brady Cook getting that first start, I really did like how he looked in the preseason. Obviously, I don't know what's going on with Tyrod as far as like dealing with that nagging injury that he had, just a few weeks ago when we were still considering who we were going to start between him and Justin. But Brady, I think just giving him more snaps under center, getting him acclimated with this offense and the new weapons that we've, acquired since he was playing in the preseason. Because when he played in the preseason, his wide receivers 2 and 3 were Arian Smith and Alan Lazard. And, now he's got John Mechie and AD out there. There's rumors that Garrett Wilson could return this week. I really hope that he doesn't. But if he does, I mean, that opens up the playbook even more. And in a hypothetical sense, we'd be able to really evaluate Brady Cook by the end of the year. I don't know how the Jets are going to play that, but I will say this. If they do activate Garrett, I do think they really believe that they want to at least evaluate Brady Cook. Because the only reason I could see yourself justifying reactivating Garrett in a dud of a season where you're about to have a plethora of picks and you're about to bring in a haul is because you think you're trying to evaluate him. And so, yeah, I mean, I know you can only take preseason with a grain of salt, Joey, and obviously he didn't play. He wasn't shooting any lights out last weekend. But I do like the fact that he can run the offense proficiently, because that's what he was able to do with. It was Theo Weiss and who's our other boy, the other stud receiver, Luther Burden, over at Missouri.
Yeah.
I was at least able to see him run a competent offense with playmakers on both sides within that offense. So I was able to see it translate a little bit, and I'm cool with him being QB1, for the foreseeable future until next season, obviously, because at this point, if Tyrod is hurt as well, go ahead and let OG sit out, man. He about 38 years old. I would, and I mean that seriously. I would hate to see him pick up an injury at the end of a worthless season that keeps him out for 10 games next season, because then again, it's now like another worthless contract that we got on the book. So this isn't an exclusive Jets podcast. I'm not going to talk y'all's ears off about that. But I figured I would kind of spend some personal sentiment on how I feel about the season right now. I really just don't want any of the playmakers. Joey, you know what I want for the rest of the year? I want to retain Breece Hall and nobody get hurt. At that point, I'm cool with anything else, man.
I mean, when you're at a playoff contention, I mean, that's got to be the most, like, you got to have two things like that. Wanted to say, it looked like really this game is just a matter of the Dolphins imposing their will. I mean, you almost have 250 yards on the ground. You go 4 for 4 in the red zone and
Yeah,
or on fourth down.
the rushing game for them absolutely did it, Joey. I was gonna hit on that if we were gonna get a little bit more.
Yeah. Go. I'm sorry. Well, go ahead then. But
yeah, man,
I did want to throw in there 4 for 4 in the red zone. That's tough to beat.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, man. They ran the ball all over us. And they did, like you said, they were able to run through their offense at will. In my honest opinion, if you give Mike McDaniels more than 7 possessions in the first half of a game, you're going to lose. He's too good at offense. I don't care what the results are on any of those drives. If you give him that many, drives, he's going to score on you, at will damn near. So, once again, hats off to him. He's always been, a real proficient offensive mind, in my opinion. And I think it's going to bode them well on this pursuit that they got for the rest of the year. I haven't looked at what the rest of their schedule look like, Joey, but they are rolling right now. 4 in a row, no matter who you're playing against in the NFL, is hard.
I want to say, it's funny, like with him being a Miami coach, he kind of took the Spo route. Like Eric Spoelstra, a guy who was basically an assistant, grew up in not really much coaching experience, grew up in the film room doing X, Y, and Z. Like, what's his name? Spoelstra was the guy who was basically administering film sessions, getting called. Like, he was almost like an intern.
Yep.
And he's been a coach there for
you can tell McDaniels is good with
years.
people, bro. That's that to me, from an outsider looking in, you can just tell he's good with people. And that's always been such an underrated quality to have as a coach. Leader of men, as they say. But so many people take on that role in a bunch of different ways, and sometimes that just works in certain spaces. Sometimes guys appreciate the fact that you're authentic and you don't have to be a leader like everyone else in this league is trying to be.
Yeah,
guys respect that you can be yourself in this locker room and things of that nature. So, who we got next, Chief?
Well, I just wanted to say before we move on, the rest of their schedule for the Dolphins is Steelers, Bengals, Bucks, and Pats. Only one of those games I'm going to deem unwinnable, and that's the Pats. But again, it's the NFL, so who knows what could happen. But here, let's move
especially
on
if New England is resting guys that week, last week of the season, and they've already clinched.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, because they're going to.
Miami still needs a win to get in.
Yeah, it's
just throwing it out there.
Playoffs are a very real thing with this team. So here, we'll get it started with a Thursday night's game with the Cowboys and the Lions. Lions ended up winning 44-30. Just if you like watching offense, this was your game to watch. 74 combined points and Dak just short of 400 yards. If you look at the yardage, it looks like he had the best game of his life. Also had 2 picks. CeeDee Lamb also had a really big game, over 100 yards on 6 receptions. So I don't think this offense is ever a question. Especially when you're putting up almost 420 yards. When you allow 408 and then you turn the ball over 3 times, we say it all the time, you're going to lose that game. That's just how it goes. This league is too good, and you're playing a team that is well coached. Also, like we talked about last week. Maybe right, wrong, or indifferent how I felt, but we thought, is this team really, this Lions team, truly special, right? And they showed, hey, they must have listened because they're like, hey, yeah, we are. If they did whatever they wanted on offense here. Let's pull up the play-by-play monitor right here. Okay, so let's see. They had the ball 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They had 12 possessions in this game, okay? Of those 12 possessions, 1, 2, 3 of them did not result in. Actually, let's take that back. They had 11 possessions because the last one was just running the clock out. They go
Jalen,
8 for 11 on
can I point
scoring
out a
possessions.
detail that I saw right away that jumped out to me about this game? Detroit literally really couldn't run the ball for shit, but they had 3 receivers damn near go for 100 ball. It's like Dallas literally cannot commit to winning a game on the heels of their defense if they fucking life can depend on it, bro. Like, what is going on, man? I didn't mean to cut you off, but that just stood out to me. I'm like, y'all invested in trading for Quinnen, and y'all stopped the run, but damn, y'all gave up 100 ball to 3 receivers, damn near.
Yeah, it was real bad. When your cornerback is your leading tackler, it's probably a bad game for you. That's my rule of thumb. If you see a team where the corner is leading the game in tackles, I almost guarantee you every time that team lost. Almost want to guarantee it.
I don't think that's the first time you've told me that, but it's right every time.
Yeah. But I mean, now Detroit. So with those losses, or with the loss, Dallas is now 2 spots behind in the playoff picture. And if they were to, so if the Lions were to win their next game, they beat the Rams this weekend, they have a 73% chance of making the playoffs. However, if the Cowboys were to lose to Minnesota, who's also struggling, they would have a 3% chance of making the playoffs. So and honestly, their road looks bleak anyway. And again, this is just percentages, doesn't mean anything. But they have a 15% chance of making the playoffs if they win. So looking a little dark for them. But I think one thing that you got to take, if you want to take away any positive from this, is it seems like this team is where it want, like this Cowboys team, whether or not they make the playoffs, they've got the core that they want going forward. Especially defensively, you're going to have more time to build through the draft and, maybe make some offseason moves. But it seems clear like they've got their vision of where they want to go.
I guess that's a really good way to put a positive spin on it. Yeah, I mean, I think you definitely got to attack the outer thirds of that defense all around. Could use a safety or two, and absolutely have to address both sides, at the cornerback position on the defensive side of the field. But yeah, to your point, probably need a running back as well. But your core is definitely there, like you said.
Yeah. So here another game we can go to, a thriller between probably the 2 of the 3 best quarterbacks in the league, between the Bills and the Bengals. Josh Allen ends up making a huge play at the end to win the game, but he goes for 2. Listen to this stat line. This is why he won MVP. The stat lines like this: 22 of 28 passing, 251 yards, 3 tuds. This guy is a monster. He is. It's like watching Giannis play quarterback. I don't know how to describe it better than that. That's how it feels to me. It's like watching Giannis play quarterback. Joe Burrow also, he had 2 picks, but throws 4 tuds, 25 of 36, 284 yards. And it's like I said last week. I love football when Joe Burrow's playing it. He made a pretty dark comment. I don't know if you heard this. I just saw something pop up a second ago.
I did see that video, man. It's so obvious he's out of there.
You think so? Like he's out of the league or out of Cincy?
No. I guess to foreshadow what I'm getting at, I sent you a tweet a while ago when the Jets picked up that draft haul where people were rumoring the Jets potentially sending some picks Cincinnati's way to pick up Burrow. And you told me I smoked fent or crack. I can't remember which illicit drug. But
it's a WMD.
that pandemic. But yo, to my point, I don't think it'll be the Jets, but I do think there's a plethora of teams, at least 5 or 6 around the league, that wouldn't mind giving up a treasure chest to pick up Joe and get these last, it is 5 years left. I will say that. I do not foresee Joe Burrow playing more than 5 or 6 more seasons of football. He's taking a lot of injuries, man, and he joined the league a little bit later than most guys as well. Not even trying to knock on him, but when you're picking up big injuries on your lower half pre-30, I can't blame a guy for looking down the looking down at things and being like, man, I gotta start considering how I'm gonna walk and run around with my kids or whatever it may be one day. So, yeah, I do think this next move is gonna be absolutely essential to like how he plans on finishing out his career. So it's gonna have to be a winner, somebody who's in win now mode. It's just a question of who. I'm sure we'll have a whole episode dedicated to that if the pieces really start, falling in that direction. But stuff like this is how, smoke and fire start building up for sure. That definitely wasn't just something random, I don't think.
Yeah, agreed. I think one thing we've learned with people covering sports, when there's smoke, there's fire. Where there's smoke, there's fire. That's something that's gonna last.
Absolutely.
I think the Bengals though. Do you do you think the Bengals run away with the North if Joe Burrow doesn't get hurt this year? I feel like I feel like they are running away with it.
But the problem with that hypothetical is, Joe, you still haven't done enough to take care of Joe Burrow to win the division. Like any
Fair
season
enough.
that is possible, the other players in your division can almost bank on you playing with your own food because you can't keep your quarterback upright. That's the most important task in football, and you've failed to address it time after time. And I hate to say it, but that Super Bowl run that they had where they lost to the Rams, we thought that window was humongous, and we were sadly mistaken, man. I'm telling you, those days are behind us. It's not me trying to be the ultimate pessimist or saying that the Bengals won't never have a winning record again if Joe Burrow does play quarterback for them for a full season. But the window as far as being a playoff, contender, I think that's behind us, and I think Joe Burrow understands that as well as us. So,
Yeah, I mean, it don't matter how much. I think
and that defense, man, Joey, that's just deplorable.
it's so bad.
Yeah, bro.
It's so bad. I mean, they have right now. They're in a situation where, um, per the NFL.com, if they lose this week, they got less than a 1% chance of making the playoffs, so they're pretty much out.
What they got? What they got, Joe? 5 wins right now?
4. So I mean, it's
Yeah, man, it's over. Come on now.
I agree, but the thing is, the best team in there, just NFL crazy stuff happens. So what? That means they've got 4 games left. The best team in their division has 3 more wins. You know what I mean? Like any other division that they're out of it, but I mean they're kind of in the they're in a very NFC South situation right now. Um, so, but one thing I do want to harp on though, it looks like after we had a lot of questions because I mean, rightfully so, there have been some crazy stuff. But the Bills 9-4 now. They're weird because after they started off 4-0, they lost 2 in a row, won 2 in a row, lost another one. So those 2 losses in a row, I think, really have people scratching heads, and they play a really tough game with the Saints. But I think this team's gearing up in full form. Josh Allen seems like have his mojo back. Not that he ever really lost it, but there were some times this year, especially like the Atlanta game, where I'm like, this isn't the MVP. He's put all that to rest. I know they got obliterated by the Texans, but when I say obliterated, not on the scoreboard, physically they were obliterated by the Texans, who are probably the best defense in the league. We're going to talk about them in a little bit, but I really think that this Buffalo team, is going to be one of the teams who really is getting hot around playoff time. Next few games they've got.
Joey, can I ask you something real quick, bro?
Yeah.
When's the last time Buffalo hadn't done this?
You know what? That's fair.
I didn't want to be this guy, but I'm an AFC East fan by default.
If anybody knows, it's you.
I got to tell you something, bro. This evolution of Josh Allen that you just hit at against when he was playing against the Falcons, it's like the PBJ sandwich of his career. He do that shit in the beginning, middle, and end of every season. In between them blips, he looked just like the player you described. Giannis playing football. I'm not knocking any of that shit. But there's like 3 phases of every season where Josh Allen plays like he got 4 fingers on each hand and 3 feet. Like he do too much. He gets too busy in the pocket. He plays almost like he's second guessing every decision. And this isn't me trying to project because obviously they're rolling right now. And he shuts me up and proves me wrong. Buffalo is on their way to doing exactly what they want to do. But let's be frank. I mean, Buffalo is not a team that has failed to get to where they need to go to win. They've gotten right to the doorstep, a handful of times. Right now, we need to see what I'd like to see from Josh Allen more so than doing another or replicating another MVP-esque season. He needs to dedicate himself to not having any of them crazy ass turnovers, going on those turnover, streaks that he goes on for the rest of the season, all the way through playoffs. That's the main thing I want to see with him. Not become a game manager, of course, but you got to trust the fact you got a top 3 running back in the league. I know he doesn't have many weapons on the outside, but kind of let that Buffalo team take him to the playoffs the same way some of those Patriots teams took Tom Brady and some others. You know what I mean? I know you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he don't got to do too much, bro. Like even the record that you just, said they had, they're only 2 games behind New England. They just need to be consistent. He don't need to try and, do anything crazy that he hasn't already done already. They just need to focus on winning the games that matter at the end of the season. Not looking ahead, but also knowing we have a habit of playing with our food at the end of the year because they have shown that.
Yeah, no, that's a good assessment of that. But nevertheless,
yeah, they're 2 games out of the hunt. To your point, they only two games behind New England because I know New England only got 2 losses. So,
and I mean, thing is, like you said, we're presented with what we're watching now. This team is figuring it out, and like you said, they have shown patterns, but patterns can't be broken.
I just worry about that wide receiver position, Joey. As far as a playoff outlook,
I think down the road, I think they're gonna make their way to the playoffs. But when you get there,
yeah,
that receiving room, I believe, is going to now that it isn't already a call for concern.
No, but it becomes an Achilles heel at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But hey, we'll see. Another big game. When I had the fortune of sitting down, this game made me realize. Actually, I thought about Lambeau Stadium when I was going on my way to the Falcons game because my brother and I would get off the MARTA, walk outside, like low 40s, high 30s, and I'm thinking, my God, I would love for this to be an outdoor stadium. Like this is the perfect outdoor stadium football weather. It's not too cold to where you have to totally reconstruct everything that you do. You don't have to wear gloves, wear a mask, whatever. But God, this sounds perfect. And then of course I get home and I'm watching them playing Lambeau, the cold weather stadium of all cold weather stadiums.
Oh, yeah.
I think it said at one point it felt like 7 out there. I don't want it that cold per se, but made for some great football to watch.
Yeah, when you start seeing those temperatures, Joe, you realize why Wisconsin is the heaviest drinking state out of all 48. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. So you said
Need
all
a little
40
bit of alcoholic assistance in that type of weather, bro.
So all 48?
Well, the lower 48 is what I should have said. I don't know how they drink in Alaska.
Fair. See, okay. You know what?
Yeah, they riding mooses and shit out there, but
I knew what you were saying, but I wanted to clarify for a listener. So I'm like, did he just say we have 48 states? But
it checks and balances. Checks and
fair
balances.
enough. Yeah, exactly.
Nothing wrong with that.
But just really grinded out football game. For this team, both similar yards, 1 turnover, not too dissimilar in first downs. The Packers go 8 for 12 on 3rd down. Bears go 8 for 16. So, this game it ended up coming down to the 4th quarter at the Bears tie it up with 8 minutes left, I believe. And then the Bears the Packers go on I guess what ends up being a death march. And 8 plays, 65 yards, 4.5 minutes, and end up sealing the game. This Bears team, Caleb Williams has this knack to look like he's struggling to make every easy play possible. But when you watch him make every off trajectory throw, whatever you want to say, just where you have to make the play of your life, he turns into a razor, dude. That dude can make all those throws. But I think his problem to not play on time and be so sporadic and, kind of dive away from his reads so quickly, I think is going to cause his team in the long run. They've been winning in spite of him, I feel like, not because of him, or despite. They've been winning despite him. Um,
I felt like you've been harsh on him all year. I mean, I
no,
understand
I've
some of
been
the
no. Logan has been harsh on him. I have not.
criticism.
I
You
thought
was
he's
harsh
made.
on him the last time I hopped on with
Let
you
me tell you,
too.
he's made tremendous just from when I've seen leadership strides. Like he looks like he knows how to command an offense, and I don't expect many rookie quarterbacks to be able to do that. So I don't want it to sound like that. But this team, I don't know, maybe it's because they overachieved. Because I think we all expected them to get better after Eberflus left and bringing in Ben Johnson. But I don't know if you expected it to be this turnaround so quickly. So maybe he's kind of like we were talking about with JJ McCarthy, how he's in a win now situation, trying to learn how to play in the NFL. Um, so I don't know, maybe that's playing a part in it, but maybe not. I don't want to say this for the future because he's going to figure it out. I know he's insanely talented, but this season, I feel like his inability to do the routine things is going to cost his team making a playoff run.
Yeah, and I mean, it is our responsibility, I guess, at least in the sense of the pod, to stay relevant in that sense. It's not like this episode was dedicated to projections and outlooks. We're talking about this season, and they obviously picked up a L this week against Green Bay. But I do want to bring up the point that even with that result, that pretty much ties them and Green Bay as far as records. This game immediately stuck out to me as like a game that's just like I could see this game being ran back in the playoffs easily. Both teams that, at least in this season, strike me as true playoff contenders. Neither one of them strike me as pretenders. I told you last week or the week before, I believe, either one. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid for Chicago. I'm all in on Ben Johnson. He took that rushing attack that did Detroit so well, right into Chicago with them, and it's serving them well. But it's funny how we were just talking about the fate of Buffalo and how we feel like it's going to ultimately fall on the lack of talent that they got on the outside on offense. I see the same. I see Green Bay running into the same obstacle, bro. You going into another postseason where you don't even know who your number one receiver is between Romeo Dobbs, Christian Watson, and insert any other name you want. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I guess you got Matthew Golden, in the equation now as well. But I guess the way they disperse the ball leaves me always wondering as well, like, who is the wide receiver one of this offense? Like,
Yeah.
I
I
don't know if
think
you feel the same, bro, but it's something
receiver
I
is
always
so
talk about.
important. Especially if you're a contender, most contenders are going to have, a pretty, I don't want to say a top 10 receiver because there's a lot of top 10 receivers that don't, but definitely a go-to guy. Um, so they are in that weird part. But I mean, honestly, I know like we talked about him last week being so inconsistent. This is one of those other inconsistencies where Jordan Love really has control of this game the whole time. It feels like, he's got 3 touchdowns, 234 yards. Josh Jacobs also had a big game on the ground, 86 yards and the go ahead score. So I think they're well coached, so well coached. The rumblings that Matt LaFleur was going to leave or be canned were so asinine that I never really wanted to entertain it. But
That was probably a Vikings fan who made that article.
right, yeah, that was a Vikings fan posing as a Packers blog. So, but both teams, man. Again, this Green Bay's ability to suffocate teams offensively is just otherworldly. Like I don't think Devontae Wyatt played this week, but my God, you got sorry, my buddy. I got my text notifications up top, and one of my buddy who gambles said, should I take Philip Rivers to throw 2 touchdowns this week?
Call that hotline.
Hey, how about that? Philip Rivers.
Yeah. I've been plugging the chat in all week about that, bro.
Yeah. What's going on?
Yeah, I think Kelly Ursay made a call or two.
I'll say
Yeah,
she dug deep in her bed. And Philip Rivers may have gone to the I was about to say the World Series, may have gone to the Hall of Fame this year.
yeah, that's
So
crazy.
I
He
want to
gonna
revert
bump
back to the
himself
Colts here in
back
a second. I want to
like
revert back
another
to the
5
Colts here in a
years or
second.
something. Oh, okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, my bad. When you brought up the Hall of Fame, I'm like, yeah, that's gonna bump him. That's gonna bump him back like another 5 years again once he retires, right?
Assumedly, that's how I
Yeah.
assume it goes. I've never really seen it happen like this,
Hmm.
where somebody's this close to eligibility and comes back, but here or there. But Green Bay, they're probably, if my favorite to win it all, win the NFC wasn't Los Angeles, I think it might be Green Bay.
Yeah,
Michael Parsons made that big of an impact on his team.
they're like if Cleveland was good at offense,
Yeah.
which kind of brings me into we're gonna have to talk about Shador. He did ball out this week in spite of
Yeah,
a
no, he
loss,
had a really, really good game.
but as
Against
a whole,
really, I know he lost, but outplays the number one pick.
no, Shador right now is number one in my rookie quarterback standings, and I could say that objectively. He's shown me enough in his two or three appearances. He playing the best out of these rookie quarterbacks that I've seen so far. Who we got in this rookie class this year?
I mean, is he better? You think he's better than Dart?
Come on, bro.
Well, Dart he's had a little more.
Dart haven't shown me what Shador has shown me last week, and especially in that first week when they won. I don't know if I can't remember who they beat.
But also remember, this is the
L
same
last
Jackson.
week, but the week before.
It's the same Jackson Dart who beat the Eagles. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
that's
I would say objectively, Jackson will probably still have to be ahead of Shador because he probably has a few more starts, but I don't think as much because Jackson missed a couple games as well. So
I
the
think.
end of this season is between them two for sure. I would say.
Can we also get rid of the idea that Kevin Stefanski was sabotaging him?
I can't because he gives ammunition to it every week. Like every week he does something else that is like, damn, are you trying to prove us wrong? Like, what's going on, bro?
That I will say it was pretty ludicrous on the 2-point conversion. They run the Wildcat and leave him off the field.
Bro. Punting the ball at your own 19. I sent y'all that shit the last week too. Like, what's going on, bro? Like,
that was hilarious.
Yeah, man.
But wrapping up Green Bay real quick. Yeah, that's a team I don't want to see when you get in the playoffs. Well coached, elite defense. But before we get to, I want to talk about the Kansas City and Kansas City Houston game and Philly Chargers game. But I do want to talk about the culture real quick because this is a team for the first half of the season was the best team in the league, the best offense, and now if the season ended, they're not in the playoffs. And being fair, probably not going to make the playoffs from the simple fact of Danny Dimes is down. He was playing. Shout out! I've got to give some love to him. He was playing through a broken fibula, and then I don't know if it was officially ruptured his Achilles. So now he's obviously done for the year.
Yeah.
So but that's what because Riley Leonard played Saturday. Notre Dame Riley Leonard played on Sunday, and they ended up getting their doors blown off by the Jags, who, by the way, my prediction's looking right. I want y'all to remember that. But also, and actually, we're going to talk about the team who could be creeping up on them soon in the Texans. But it's looking real bleak. I mean, I know we made the jokes about, God, what a terrible quarterback duel between Richardson and Danny Dimes. But now we're looking at AR's on the injured reserve. I'm pretty sure with maybe it's that eye problem, I think. Danny Dimes out for the season. Now you're starting Riley Leonard.
They made Anthony Richardson watch an hour of his own tape. Now his eyes don't work. They hired a 44-year-old Phillip Rivers. You see, I got my Colts blue on. Do you know who got both of their first-round picks this year?
Yes. Oh, you're loving it. Huh?
Hey, now I will say this. I kind of felt bad because I realized I was licking my chops while you was mentioning Danny Dimes' injury. You know, we don't celebrate injuries at any means over here in the fans union. Obviously, we wish Danny the best of luck. He really was having a renaissance of a season, bro. He turned his whole career around in that small, 8-game window or however long he played. I think he made it a 9 games. They were like 7-2. But hopefully he is able to turn it around. Phillip is just a, kind of a bridge gap until they get into next year. And they're still able to kind of carry on that trajectory that they had, because it's always fun to see. It's kind of hard to see the Colts as an underdog franchise because we grew up in an era, obviously you being a huge Peyton fan, and Peyton admirer like you were as when we were growing up, seeing them be the powerhouse that they were in the AFC North.
South.
It's hard, or AFC South, pardon me. It's hard seeing them as underdogs, but that is kind of the pathway that they took post Peyton. So it's fun to see teams like that get good. I obviously wish them the best of luck, but I will take the good draft capital in the meantime.
And it's gotten so bad, they said, we cannot play this Riley Leonard guy anymore. We got to bring Phillip Rivers. So Who knows what's going to happen? He did a press conference today, so who knows what it's going to end up being. But certainly was not on my bingo card. Now, let's talk about a game where we saw maybe Old Yeller get taken out back, if you will. But I want to give a shout out to the Texans. So we're looking at the Texans. They end up beating the Chiefs 20-10 on a Sunday night's game.
Who you talking about, Kelsey?
I just mean the Chiefs.
Oh, okay.
That's hilarious. You're crazy.
But they might have to take him out back for real.
Well, he was going to retire last year. I thought he was going to retire last year. The fact, I'm thinking maybe like, does the Super Bowl leave a bad taste in his mouth or something like that? And he's like, no, I got to get it figured out. Maybe what I'm thinking.
Taylor let him use that Capital One card on Grail once or twice last summer. She said, boy, get your ass to work. She said, boy, take your ass to work. Balenciaga my ass. You better get on that yard line.
Great. I can imagine him shopping on Grail. That's hilarious. But yeah, I mean, this Houston defense is suffocating. I mean, it's absolutely it's like watching, sometimes feels like a NFL defense play against high school teams. Like that's the way they fly around, the way they hit. You got two great corners in Stingley and Kamari Lassiter and Will Anderson, probably the best pass rusher in the league, not named Michael Parsons or Myles Garrett this year. There's just a lot to go. I mean, and they're finding it. They got CJ Stroud back. And maybe this is something we could talk about with I don't know, or like how we're talking about with the Packers. Their defense is so good that you can have a quarterback play so subpar, and it's going to carry you. If you take care of the check boxes of having an elite defense, 9 times out of 10, things are going to go right. No matter what happens, it's going to fall in its place. And you face a reeling offense like Kansas City, who falls to 6-7 now. Not only could this be their first year not going to the AFC Championship in the Mahomes era, but not the playoffs. I mean, it's pretty insane to say out loud. But yeah, talk to me, Graham. Oh, and let me ask: is DeMeco Ryans officially off the hot seat?
Wow,
off the Graham Dobbs hot seat.
You took that play right out of my handbook, man, because I actually was about to immediately step up on the soapbox and give DeMeco my apologies. I want to formally apologize for my previous transgressions. He do got them boys flying around like hell right now. And if anything, he's just like, kind of what we were touching on when we were talking about with LaFleur, man. You'd be silly to not be patient with DeMeco at this point. What he's cooked up until now, he really hasn't given us any reason to stop believing in him. We just live in such a microwave popcorn society that the minute, 2 or 3 results don't go your way, we forget that the NFL is a microcosm of shit going on at all times. There's so many things going on behind and in front of closed doors that, fans sometimes don't bat an eye about. But I do think CJ had like a sophomore slump that kind of rolled into year 3 as well. Are we officially in year 4 with him, or am I wrong?
I think this is year 3.
Okay, yeah. So
I'll double check that, but I'm pretty sure it's year 3.
At this point, I guess it's kind of necessary for us to believe that CJ's kind of put that behind him as well, like you said. And the beautiful thing in Houston's, perspective is they've got a plethora of weapons on the outside. So that offense is kind of just like a ticking time bomb in a good way. If they can really get cooking on the offensive side before playoffs come, you might really got to be worried about Houston because, like you said,
Yeah.
I mean, we can
Get
trust
out the
that this
way.
defense is going to, fit the bill for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, when your defense is this good, having offense like
You could
that,
score 20 a week and win.
yeah, exactly. Like I saw something that said,
Obviously not ideally, but you
when I
could.
was in high school, our football coach told us this stat. Like our goal was to always, I mean, granted, it never really happened, but our goal was to always score 28 points in a game because a team that scores 28, like some percentage in the 70s, that percentage of the time they win the game, they're going to break that mold. You don't even have to do that with this team, but it's just it's like watching Kansas City play all these teams that are so young. It's like watching, I mean, Kobe's latter years is what I compare it to. Like, I love you, man, and I don't love the Chiefs, but I love you, man. But time might have passed you, buddy. You know, it could be time to hang them up, and that's the Chief. And it's amazing because they go from however many Patrick Mahomes straight seasons of AFC championships to missing the playoffs. So I don't know if this is something that's going to be, uh, you know, something coming in the years forward. But you still got Andy Reid and you got Pat Mahomes. So if you have those two, you're going to be able to figure it out. But they've got to get him another real target. I think like Rashee Rice and Worthy, you know, those are formidable targets to say. But when you go from prime
Yeah,
Travis Kelsey
I
and
think you
having
got to try and get neighbors
Tyreek
out of New
Hill,
York, honestly, bro.
saying what?
I think you got to try and get neighbors out of New York.
Could you imagine?
I mean, at this point, something of that ilk is what I'm thinking.
I was listening to so Rich Paul and Max Kellerman have a podcast they just started. I listened; it was actually really good. I enjoyed it. Um, I know he got a lot of
Max is
flack.
great, man. Yeah, Max is
Max
great.
is awesome, dude. He
Yeah,
is. I could listen to him talk about sports forever. He's. You can tell he's insanely smart, and I know you're. I really want to get more into it, but I know you're big into boxing too, so I know you're used to seeing his main expertise.
yeah,
Um,
that's his bread and butter. I mean, that's how he got his feet in the game. So yeah.
right. Well,
Mhm.
Rich Paul said something about Patrick Mahomes, and I don't know how overzealous this is, but he says he needs to go to Cowboys. And I'm like, eventually, like before his play days are over.
Mm.
Oh, but I'm like, heck no. Do you know what kind of numbers a Patrick Mahomes number 15 Cowboys jersey would do?
It'd be uh it'd be the closest thing this generation would see to Michael Jackson trying to go to like a shopping mall.
Yes.
Them trying to transport him into that stadium. I mean, he is a Texas kid at heart. That would be,
Yeah.
as much as we both are proud Cowboys haters, as just football connoisseurs, who could hate that?
I mean, it's one of those things where, like I always say with the Knicks, if you guys are listening, clearly I draw a lot of basketball comparisons. But it's one of those things where basketball is a better place when the Knicks are good, when the Lakers are good, when the Celtics are good. The Cowboys being good would be, you know, a tidal wave for the NFL. We all know this, but neither here nor there. Um, I mean, this Pat Mahomes stat line is insane. 160 yards, 1433 passing. So way under 50%, 3 picks. I mean, and D'Amico Ryans was a fantastic linebacker too. I mean, so he knows the game of football. Clearly, he's a good leader of men. Another guy who looked like what's going on this season. Clearly, he
But
didn't
the,
lose
the
his.
league got the tape on Kansas City, Joey. That's what it is, bro.
Yeah, it only took him 8 years.
No, but today's today, man. I think they got that shit figured out as far as right now. And to your point, they're gonna have to retool and give Andy a different set of groceries to cook a different dish. I still trust him as the chef, but we got to change the ingredients, change the lighting around the kitchen a little bit. We got to spruce shit up in here, man.
Yeah, maybe like, well, let's lay out the paprika. Maybe put maybe a little experiment, a little more onion powder.
We're feeling oregano this season.
Oregano is Rashee Rice coming back.
Hopefully, it's not at a high rate of speed.
Yeah, He is pretty fast, so I hear.
by nature. Yeah. He's got a pedal on him.
You may lose him. Who knows?
Yeah. Next topic.
Yeah.
We
All
about
right.
to
Well,
get we
let's.
about to get demonetized for the 2 cents we earn every week.
Hey, if we're monetized, hold on now. Somebody
Yeah.
better
It goes
give me the
straight to
link.
Trip account. He ain't tell you?
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Patreon.
Been bamboozled. Final game of the week, though, overtime game. The Chargers beat the Philadelphia Eagles, who we've talked about the Eagles all season, really kind of losing that continuity that everybody in the world said, hey, there are problems in this locker room and on this offense, especially. And everybody's like, no, it's just the media. It's just the media. No, it's not. Diana Rossini has been vindicated, if anything. But Jalen Hurts plays probably his worst game ever. And
yeah.
I saw somebody, I forget who it was, say, like, he's like Jalen Hurts, or Jalen Hurts is like Russell Wilson because he's corny. Like, part of it because he's corny. I don't really think Jalen Hurts is corny. Like, I know he says like those philosophical things, but Russell Wilson, he was doing like the football thing where he's like, football, family, you know what I'm talking about? Like, I didn't like that comparison,
Broncos country. Let's ride.
that was brutal. That was
Like,
a brutal
man,
watch.
not even of the same echelon. So yeah, no, I think
I agree.
to
But
your point about Jalen, just on the exact point that you are making, I think that people get naturally irritated at people who like are just in their own world. I don't know what it is, but like it don't matter
fair.
what way you do it. People hate not being able to get to you. Like it just irks the fuck out of them. And I think that's the big thing with Jalen. Like they can genuinely tell he does not get on Twitter. You could just tell he doesn't, bro. Like to me at least. But yeah, you're totally right. I don't see him nearly the same as some of the other real genuine cornballs of this league.
Yeah. But does not take him away from being responsible. The Eagles had 5 turnovers this game. He's responsible for every single one of them. 4 picks and a fumble lost. And Jalen Hurts, to me, no matter what he did to my team in the SEC championship game in 2018, Jalen Hurts is a real easy guy to root for. I mean, this is the guy who, all the stories of him in Alabama, when he gets benched he gets benched, Tua takes over, but he wants to finish his undergrad at Bama. And, Nick Saban talks about him, like he's like he can walk on water. I don't want to compare anybody to Jesus, obviously, but like he can do no wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like seeing him do well. But are these conversations that people like? I always thought Cam Newton kind of went too far with him about his, I guess, what he lacks at quarterback could cost them. And everybody's like, oh, he's a winner. He's a winner. He's a winner, X, Y, and Z. And then everybody's like, Cam Newton also may be vindicated right now when it comes to talking about Jalen Hurts. But this offense has so many issues, and I think they're bigger than him, but not when you are responsible for 5 turnovers in a game. And in this era of social media where that happens, you're a meme instantly. They're making Hitler pictures of you whenever you play poorly. It's bad. I mean, Herbert goes 12 of 26, 1 touchdown, a pick, 140 yards, and he wins the game before he tells Laura Rutledge that he's going to celebrate with his team.
Yeah, take a hike, man. Get off my strap. Yeah, I saw that.
Exactly.
That was crazy. That was nuts. But no, Joey, when you was kind of hitting on some of the criticisms of Jalen, something crossed my mind, and I really just have to ask you this, and I got to accept your honest answer. Even on Jalen's best day, he's like number 18 out of all 32 quarterbacks in this league, man. And that's my honest take on it, objectively. Has nothing to do with how I feel about him as a person and shit, because I do think he's an A1 guy, like you were just, kind of elaborating on. But I do think that even on Jalen's best day, he's like between number 16 or 18 out of quarterbacks in this league. And do I think it's impossible to win a Super Bowl with that quarterback? No, because they've obviously proved it. But do I think it's hard to do it once? Yes. Do I think it's hard to do it multiple times? I think we're looking at it right now. Like, it's damn hard.
Here, I'm going to speed round you real quick. All right. I'm going to name this quarterback. Is he better? Is Hurts better? Yes or no? Okay. Dak Prescott.
Yes.
Dak Prescott's better?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So the answer to everything, if you think they're better than Hurts, say yes. If you think they're not, say no. Sam Darnold.
He's better. Yes.
All right. Before he got hurt, Daniel Jones this year.
No.
Okay.
He was playing better, but I wouldn't take him. That's
Okay.
my answer. Yeah.
Brock Purdy. It's a Spider-Man meme.
If there was ever a tie, yes, yeah. If there was ever a tie, he's the only one. I can't pick a tie for the rest of this list. That's the rule.
All right, cool. Bryce Young.
Ooh. Yeah, give me Bryce. If you put Bryce on this Philly team, they've won 2 more games.
Okay. All right. Matt Stafford.
Yes, absolutely.
Jared Goff.
Yes.
Jordan Love.
Yes.
Bo Nix.
No.
CJ Stroud.
That good year is behind us. He hasn't shown us that again yet. No. I can't go off of 2 years ago. No, he's not.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I
okay.
can't.
Let's see. T-Law.
Ooh, fuck no.
All right.
I love T-Law. I love T-Law to the bone. He a Georgia boy. You know I love him, bro.
Yeah.
But I can't do that.
All right. Healthy Jane Daniels.
I'm gonna say no because I don't want to disrespect Jalen, but I could, if someone was able to prove me wrong right now, I wouldn't say that they wrong. I say, okay, you're right. But I'm saying no because I don't want to disrespect him.
And I think here's where you're about to see him really get pushed to the ground. I'm just going off next week's games that I'm reading through.
I felt terrible saying that. Shit.
Josh Allen.
Oh, come on.
Drake May.
Yeah, he's better than them right now.
All right. Pat Mahomes.
These are the non-negotiables.
Herbo.
Ooh. I said Jalen number 16, Herbo, your fraudulent ass 14 and a half. But you're yes only because of that reason. You're
All
not
right.
far off. You under investigation.
All right. Lamar, Burrow, obviously both, right? Yeah. So, I mean, that puts him right in that tier that you're talking about. So that was a long exercise, but I just wanted to provide some perspective there. But I mean, the Eagles outgain the Chargers by 90 yards. By 90 yards, but 5 turnovers, too much to account for. And not to mention, the Chargers have 3 turnovers in this game. And, it looks like the Phillies going to win this game. They're driving down the field. And, of course, in the most perfect way this game can end, Jalen Hurts picked off on the goal line, basically, off a batted ball. Not a drop ball, but a batted ball. Seals the game up. And Herbert beats the allegations because he won. The hypothetical king. But
I like the way that you ended that.
But this Chargers team is probably gonna make the playoffs. Eagles are lucky they play in their division. They're gonna make the playoffs probably. But looking forward, I mean, is this a team who's gonna compete for? I mean, they're gonna make the playoffs, so obviously they'll be in contention. Is this a team who's gonna have the chance to make a Super Bowl run, Graham?
Joe, I was actually going to ask you the same. I was actually going to ask you a question is it a fair statement on my behalf to say, I think both of these teams will make the playoffs, like you said, and they both will be early departures. They're both pretenders to me.
The reigning Super Bowl champs, pretenders?
This year. We talking about this year. We're not time traveling.
Right.
Your name not Marty McFly, and I don't got no Air Mags on my feet. We're not time traveling tonight, baby.
I just wanted to put it in perspective. I wanted to put it in perspective.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's crazy to say that, but like this team it's just been off rhythm. The offense has been horrible this year. Clearly that there's a play calling problem, and Hurts his plays regressed. I mean, this guy who played his eyes out in the Super Bowl. But yeah, I think the Chargers are. I think the Chargers would be a for real team if their offensive line was not as beat up as they are. Like, there's all these numbers out there about how Justin Herbert plays with Joe Alt versus without him. And he's been without him for quite a while. So that's frustrating. But I agree. Probably both early exits. The Eagles, They've got the defense and the experience and the weapons to, kind of be the team who doesn't fall victim to that. But there's really been nothing going good for them this season. Compare it for what it's worth. Now, this is a Falcons are in the same position as them. Oh, it's paint the city, right? But this is Philly. The fans are horrible people. They hate everybody. They boo you at home after you just won the Super Bowl. So yeah, it's looking grim for them. I'm glad Saquon had a pretty good game though. 122 yards on a tud and won me my fantasy. Pushed me in the third seed in the playoffs. So shout out to him. But yeah, I agree. They're pretenders. Before we pick some games, you got anything else you want to add to it?
No, I guess while we're on the topic of Philly, I'll give a little educational, little quick debriefing for all our listeners who maybe haven't traveled to the northeastern portion of our beautiful country, man.
I can't wait for this.
For an outsider, for someone who's never had the tremendous privilege to visit the Liberty City, pardon me, that might be New York, but whatever they call that shit. If you for all who haven't had the privilege, man, Philadelphia, the best way to explain it is, how in math, as a kid, they explain to you 2 negatives actually make a positive. That's the thesis that the whole city seems to take a mold on, man. They seem to think, man, if we're all bad at everything, people will surely make a positive out of something, out of all of this. And that's the philosophy that they all live by. And unfortunately, with football, it doesn't necessarily, work that way. So basically what I'm saying is, like, the city stinks, the people are mean, everything kind of sucks, but it's this weird, beautiful place at the end of the day. But this is football, and you got to address things that cause you to lose games at a certain point. And whether it's Jalen's fault or this offense as a whole and whoever's coordinating it, I mean, that's got to be topic number one. They can't keep continuing, like, to treat the Band-Aid as like drafting 3 stud defensive players in the draft. Like, that doesn't fix anything at this point. Like, you got to fix this offense, man. That's my last closing statement on it.
And I want to throw in something too. I don't want to ask if this person's on the hot seat per se.
Sirianni?
I don't know if he has what it takes to lead a team like this with this many personalities. Like, you imagine like Bill Parcells coaching a team like this. You know what I mean? Like, this would all be in line, but I don't know if he's equipped enough, just from what I've seen, to handle the personalities. This is a guy who last season is arguing with their fans at an away game. This is at the Browns. Not Browns fans. Philly fans.
Yeah.
That traveled. Could live in Cleveland, whatever the case. He's there arguing with them.
Now, Sirianni has kind of always been, again, kind of, at least in the northeastern spaces, considered a yes man to Howie Roseman. That's how a lot of people, said he got that job, because of his ties with Howie Roseman. But I wanted to point something out to you, Joey, when you brought up the possibility of him being on the hot seat, because I know we got to push. But do you know who Philly's defensive coordinator is? I'm sure you do.
Big Fangio.
Big Vic. Do you know who Vic Fangio formerly was a defensive coordinator for? We was talking about him and showing him. We gave him his flowers earlier this episode.
Was it? It was Andy Reid. No. I was thinking of Spags.
Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, that's true.
Just think about that for a second, man.
You telling me Mike McDaniel is a better leader of men than?
All I'm saying is there's some familiarity there. Philly's got an offensive problem. This guy's got offensive solutions. You've got a great defensive coordinator in Vic. Vic's got an old coworker in Mike. I'm just pointing out some observations I'm making, man. That's all.
A spade's a spade, right?
That's it.
We'll see how it rides out. Obviously, Philly's going to probably go to the playoffs, but we'll see how it plays out. Graham, let's pick some games and then get out of here.
Let's do it. Shit, we can speed round these like we speed round the last one. You want to run through yours? I'll run through mine.
We'll go back and forth, and we're not going to pick all the games. So
okay, yeah, fair enough.
Some of the big ones here. Okay, so kicking off the week, my Falcons at Tampa. Falcons are going to win this game. It's going to be a weird one. The Falcons are going to win this game, though.
Yeah, you're always like, my one friend who reminds me each week, like, hey, the NFL is different than all the other leagues. Shit happens in this league. But Mike Evans is back, and Atlanta's on a down skid. I got to kind of roll with the Bucks on this one.
All right. Baltimore at Cincy. Baltimore 1.5-point favorite. I don't know what either of these two teams really are at all.
Neither one of us.
Yeah, right. But I'm taking Cincy to win at home.
For that same logic, Joey, I got Baltimore winning on the road because I think if I had to pick a factor to choose between them, I have to bank on who realistically can make the playoffs more, and I'm leaning towards Baltimore.
All right. Well, Chargers at Kansas City. Kansas City a 5.5-point favorite. I think the Pretenders do get exposed this week. Kansas City wins.
Yeah, I like that. For the same reasons you was kind of just hitting that with, Atlanta just getting a win, even though it's like weird. It doesn't seem like their trajectory would point towards them winning. I know Kansas City is on a downslide, but we just hit on Los Angeles being, pretender. So I got old Patty and the crew getting a dub this week.
And that's Los Angeles Chargers, by the way, not Rams for all
Yeah,
the
not the
listeners.
Rams. Yeah, the opposite of pretenders is them.
All right, Buffalo. This is some really big games on this slate. Buffalo at New England. Then we said it earlier. It's at New England. Buffalo's 1.5-point favorite. I think they're gonna bring the Patriots back down the ground a little bit.
Yeah, my
As
take
Graham
on the
pointed out
Patriots.
last week, strength of schedule, merchants.
Hell yeah, yep, yeah. I was just about to say, my take on the Patriots this year. They're the Texas A&M of the AFC East. They will get exposed for that weak ass schedule that they've been, feasting off of. Give me Buffalo by 10 points.
Buffalo by 10 points. Graham said, we're not taking the spread. This is going to be a blowout. Maybe not a blowout, but a dominant game. Let's look at your Jets at the Jags. What are you thinking? Jags are 2-touchdown favorite. It's hard for me to the Jets. No, they're not Raiders bad, so I'm not going to say that. But the Jets broke the I'm picking against them until they win curse, obviously. But Jacksonville does have Houston on their tail. I think they know that. They're going to kick it into gear this week. Jacksonville at least will win.
Yeah, to your point, Joey, when teams that are in the position Jacksonville is in play teams like the Jets, they tend to try and put us away early. So the question you got to ask yourself is, can that bad team ride the tide? Like, if you're bad, can you ride out until the fourth? Because by then, if you made it to the fourth, it's anyone's game. If it was at home, I could see that being the case. But because we're in Saxonville, yeah.
All right. So we're both taking the Jags on that one. Next, Green Bay at Denver. Green Bay on the road, 2.5-point favorite. We talked about how if you have such a good defense, your quarterback doesn't, can play and you can still win. This is not one of those games. Two, probably the three best defenses in the league in this game. And if on paper I'm saying, who do I trust to have the better chance to succeed? Bo Nix or Jordan Love? I don't know which defense I think is better, but Jordan Love I think is at this point exponentially better than Bo Nix. So I am going to take the Packers to win this one.
I kind of told you that the Packers are like Cleveland if their offense was good. And to that point, I don't trust Denver's offense enough to see them to get past a defense as good as Green Bay. I still got hopes that Denver is going to be able to like sneak into the playoffs this year. So I'm not completely out on them.
Well, they're not going to sneak into play. They're the number one seed right now.
Yeah. So, but I do see them faltering in a couple of these matchups. Like, they're going to pick up an L this week. So things could still shift around. I'm not completely out on them. I know I predicted them to win their division, but even if they were to slide a little bit, they'll get into the playoffs. But this week, I think it will be tough, especially if Micah keeps rolling. But Green Bay is inconsistent at times themselves. So this will be an interesting matchup, man. I think that'll be the best game of the week, honestly.
Well, there's some contenders for that because we got some ball games this week.
Especially this next one.
Yeah, the next one
is a heater.
Detroit at Los Angeles. Los Angeles Rams. Rams are 5.5-point favorite. They're coming off a dominant win over the Cardinals, but I know the Lions. They've got to start winning. I mean, obviously they won last week, but they've really got to string together some wins to make the playoffs. Doesn't start this week. My favorite to win the NFC, Rams taking the win.
I like you staying true to your pick. I'm gonna stay true to my homie. My boy Trip is a Detroit native, and I'm an honorary Detroit fan. Whenever I'm down and out on the Jets, he gave me permission. Whenever I'm sick of watching them, I'm always welcome on 8 Mile. So I'm gonna roll with my 1B team. I'm rolling with the Lions on this pick. I got them upsetting, but I do like your pick with Los Angeles because I believe in them as well. They are the contender LA team. They're not the pretenders.
Fair enough. All right. Sunday night game. Minnesota at Dallas. I think I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this one. Quarterback play is awful in Minnesota. Cowboys are going to roll.
Hell yeah. I think we'll see some of those usual suspects on their offense get back to their normal selves and be, dancing and celebrating in the back of that end zone like we're used to, accustomed to them doing. So, yeah, Cowboys by at least 2 touchdowns.
All right. And then wrapping the week up, Miami at Pittsburgh, a game we alluded to earlier. Pittsburgh is a 3.5-point favorite, or excuse me, a 3-point favorite at home. Does Miami know how much their back is against the wall and how if they lose another game, they're out of the playoffs? I think they very well know that. And Pittsburgh knows they don't really have a stranglehold on this division. But I'm taking Miami to win. 4 in a row.
5's a party.
Exactly.
For some reason, I could just see Tomlin being the Grinch for this party, man. Not that it's gonna keep them from destiny, which is 9-8. I mean, that's their fate. That's what they love to do every year. But I see Pittsburgh squeaking out on this one.
All right, let's take Pitt there. Okay. Well, that's it, guys. Appreciate you guys tuning in with us on this pick and pop offense we ran. So, Graham, as always, pleasure to have you here, my brother. We'll see you next week. Next week we're gonna be covering. We'll know who won the Heisman for one thing. For I guess I'll say for NFL, gonna probably do the same thing. Look at some games, playoff picture, things like that. For college, we're gonna preview some bowl games and playoff games coming up. So playoffs start not this weekend, but the weekend after. So going to be super electric time to be a college football fan. So make sure you tune in to the most mediocre coverage of the game you could possibly find. No, my co-hosts do a great job. So Graham, you got anything to say before we head out?
No, yeah, man. It's always a pleasure hopping on with you and all the fans who do tap in. Like you alluded to, the playoffs are going to be heating up on the college side. So we're going to be doing our best to give y'all, all the coverage that we can, especially with both, our teams, at least, the 2 teams that are on the panel being in the playoffs. Logan's team, got that big matchup with Tulane coming up. So we'll give y'all plenty of coverage on that. And, y'all obviously know we're looking forward to it. So y'all enjoy the rest of y'all's week.
I should have said this earlier. Just as a reminder, if you watch yesterday's episode, we are officially on Apple and Spotify for podcasts now. So get your audio listed, not just on YouTube. Always going to put these on YouTube, of course, but we do have the audio space now. So make sure you guys on your drive to work, go ahead and throw us on.
If you on that drive, if you on that Stairmaster, if you on that treadmill, go ahead and tap in, man.
Yeah, I listened to the Bill Simmons podcast walking around today, and I love when I go for a walk, listening to podcasts. It's pretty great.
No, yeah, man. That's we trying to be in them same spaces. So
that's right.
And we look forward to talking with y'all next week.
All right, everybody. We out of here. Peace.
Peace.